Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that little subscription button down below. Just that little red button. I'd really appreciate the support. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Before I actually get into the video, I want to talk about something. So obviously I've gotten a lot of questions about how do I actually do the meetup and actually what am I doing during the meetup. So with that said, I want to create a video for you guys of me actually going through the whole setup from the beginning of actually finding a phone or somebody messaging me all the way to the end, obviously with the meetup in there, filming everything all the way to selling it, showing you guys the proof of somebody purchased the phone, getting that profit and everything, and just kind of showing you guys the whole process. But with that said, I'd like a little bit more support for you guys, so I'm going to be releasing that video once I get to 300 subscribers. So I'm about 35 away, something around that, 35, 40 subscribers away. So if you guys have any friends or family that'd be interested in just looking to make some extra money, or just trying to get them off the couch, being lazy, and make them learn something on YouTube because they're watching too much TV, that's an option too. I just really would like to get to 300 subs. Just want some motivation and just want to release that video because it's obviously going to be probably the biggest video on my channel, so I want to release it to as many of you as possible. So again, help me get to 300. Once I do, I'll be releasing that video. I'm going to be starting now to try to find that perfect seller, just kind of to show you from beginning to end. So I'm going to be working on that. So with that said, in today's video, one question I always get a lot is how do I buy phones so cheap? How are you lowballing people? So that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking about 3 different tips that are going to be helping you guys land more deals and just ultimately be good at lowballing offers. So with that said, let's get into today's video. So the first thing, and something that I've mentioned in a previous video before, is you always want to make an offer. And that's honestly, even if you're lowballing, this does relate to lowballing in the fact that you always want to give a lowball offer. Even if somebody's $300-400 greater than you would expect, you wouldn't believe how many deals I get from people that just simply don't know the value of their phone, so they're pricing an iPhone 6 at $500, when in reality I'm able to buy it for $100 because of obviously not just they don't know the value, but I take a couple of the techniques that I'm going to be talking about in this video. And the last one I'm going to be talking about is definitely the most important, so stick around. But again, it's just a numbers game. The law of averages says if you're going to be able to lowball 100 people, I'd say about 5 to 10 of those should be able to accept your offer. Obviously not just accepting it, but you have to work with negotiations. And obviously you'll get lucky sometimes. People will just be like, okay, when can you meet? And obviously that's as easy as it gets for us. But one trick that I have for you guys is when you're on offer up, there's the little make offer button, or you can ask a question. If you're every time I offer a price, so this is obviously for people that are going out there and looking for phones, and I still do that once in a while, especially when the market's slow. Some ads just don't get traction depending on the time or just the day of the week. Maybe it's around a holiday. There's just seasons in the calendar year that just won't be working out for us. So obviously we have to go out there, put in a little bit extra work, and go look for phones. But always always create a personal message. Never give somebody just a price. I never give somebody a price. It just kind of looks narcissistic, and a lot of the time, if we're especially lowballing somebody pretty heavily, just giving a number is when we really are going to get those mean messages, or people just say F off or something like that. It's just something we don't want to deal with, and obviously we can avoid that. So just always leave a personal message. And one thing I usually like to say is instead of just giving $300, I'll say I would love to give you $300 all cash today. And sometimes I'll include I can meet whenever you want, I'm willing to meet halfway, just stuff to give value to them, because obviously most of them will know that we're lowballing them simply because we're giving a price that's way lower than they're listing for, because obviously we're doing this to make some money, and so we have to buy phones then lower than market value, especially if we're trying to make $100 plus on each phone. But with that said, definitely give that a try. Just kind of have every message be a personal one. Never just give a number. I can almost guarantee it's not going to work out for you, especially if you're lowballing something heavy. Sometimes it will work out for you. It has worked out for me, especially in the beginning when I didn't really know these strategies. But again, I do buy a lot more phones now because I'm making it relatable. I'm having a friendly conversation, and it just kind of starts it out pretty friendly with the other party. And it kind of builds that credibility for yourself. So the second point that I have is more of a mindset thing, but going into this and lowballing, obviously you're going to be able to tell if somebody's going to be willing to negotiate or not. And that's the second point, is you have to have the mindset that obviously people are going to say no all the time, but you have to recognize which are like serious sellers and which are not. Some people list the phone out there for a year and wait a whole year just to get a price, and a lot of the times they won't, but they'll wait for like that perfect person to get the exact price because they're not budging at all, especially if they're listing it like a iPhone 6 Plus for $500. They'll wait, and they don't have any rush. They just want to, like, it's just an extra phone, so obviously they're in no rush to give you like a lowball offer and willing to accept that. So you just have to obviously tell that person, just no thanks. Like, obviously, especially if you have like a 9-to-5 job or just like a part-time job and you just have another source of like main income other than phone flipping, which I'm guessing like 99% of you are, you just have to like value your time like as best as possible. And if we're trying to negotiate with people like for 10-15 minutes on a single phone back to back, it should just not be worth your time. Especially again, if you have that full-time job, you want to value your time, because it is very little. You only have like lunchtime to like put out ads and like message people, so you want to walk away if you know somebody's not willing to negotiate. But if you do like give that friendly message, a lot of people are willing to negotiate. Even if you negotiate and you give the strategies a try that I recommend in this video, you didn't waste your time. You're practicing a new actually method to this, and eventually it will work. It'll take you guys some time to actually get good at it, but again, just say like, I would love to give you this amount of cash. I would love to give you X, like $300 all cash today, and I guarantee it'll work in your favor. But with that said, I like to have about $30 to $50 wiggle room. If you guys, I've said this in other videos, but you just want to always like have a wiggle room, because if you expect the actual seller to go down in price, you have to like actually come up on price as well, because if they're willing to come down, you have to be willing to go up. So obviously we have to price it a little bit lower, and I say about 30 to 50 bucks, and that's when you're really able to gauge if somebody is a serious buyer. If they're coming down 10, 20 bucks when you're like 200 bucks off, obviously it's not going to work out for you. Just say no thank you, but also leave the message with, if you're ever willing to sell it, I'm always here, I have the cash, I'm always looking to buy it. So always don't feel hesitated to reach out like whenever you may. But with that said, again, $30-$50 should be your like kind of prime range for wiggle room, and I guarantee it'll work out for you a lot if somebody's willing to actually negotiate. And the last one, I told you guys to wait around for this last tip, because it is kind of the bread and butter of like any question that I get for how to negotiate, how getting phones so cheap. But it's simply, that one tip is you have to ask questions that the seller isn't really expecting, and questions that are going to make them devalue the phone in their head. So like, if there's a phone on OfferUp, or like they came to me and it says iPhone 7 Plus, like 32 gigabyte, just the phone, I'll ask them a couple questions, the normal IMEI condition, all of that. But with that said, if I know it's like 32 gigabyte, sometimes I'll ask, is it the highest gigabytes? Simply so they can answer, no, it's not. Because one, that devalues like, oh, it's not the highest one, so maybe I'm valuing the phone too high. Is this actually what the phone's going for at that price? And then like maybe another one could be like, does it come with accessories? When I know he already told me it has no accessories, and that simply will devalue it. It's just a mindset thing. Negotiating is all in the head. It's never like, it's all emotional. You have to get to them. You have to make them think that the phone is a lot, like almost little to no value, obviously depending on the condition, but you always want to decrease that value in their head, asking these kind of questions. And maybe one more would be, if he said it's like some like minor scratches, I'll be like, is there any scratches on the phone, any wear and tear? And obviously they'll say yes, and they're like, oh, is it actually worth what I thought? And you wouldn't believe how many people just kind of get like rattled by that fact, simply because they didn't expect those questions. And obviously we're doing this as a tactic because we're here to make money. We're not obviously scamming anybody. We just want to like make people think the value of their phone, because obviously the value of a phone is always decreasing. It could be highly valued in one town, and in one town it's $100 less. It really all depends. So obviously we're trying to get the best deal. So I hope you guys definitely go give that a try. I know it'll work for you guys. I hope you guys have made it to the end of the video, because again, if you haven't, spread this tip to all your phone flipping friends. I know it'll work, and I wanted to release this a little bit later when I get some more subscribers. So I thought this was a great time for you guys, because I have about a pretty solid following now, just Obviously it's growing, but like for me it's a lot, so I'm very supportive. I'm very appreciative of it. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Again, hit that little subscription down below, just that little red button, probably the same color as this t-shirt, but I'd really appreciate the support. Let's get to 300 so I can release that awesome video for you guys, that live meetup of actually going from beginning to end of an actual phone flipping deal, so you guys know exactly what I'm doing. I might do one where it's like pretty complicated so it can solve a lot of your questions. Maybe it's iCloud locked, maybe the seller will have some issues with signing a bill of sale, whatever it may be. I'm going to make it very valuable to you guys. If I'm going to keep filming all of them as much as I can so they don't just so I can get one that I think has the most value to you guys, so I can pick and choose and obviously find the best value on a release on this channel. So with that said, have a great Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.